Today, we're diving into something a little different. We're not just explaining a concept, we're actually investigating a mystery. A series of videos that almost seem to be talking to themselves, creating this kind of digital ghost in the machine.
So where does it all begin? Well, it starts right here, a YouTube channel called Lorem Ipsum III, and it has a grand total of, wait for it, 2 subscribers. Yeah, 2. And yet this is the starting point for a series of explainers so good, so perfectly constructed, they seem almost impossible. So what on earth is going on here? To figure it out, we have to go deep. We have to go down a seriously recursive rabbit hole. What we're looking at is a set of videos where each one is basically an analysis of the one that came before it. It's like a hall of mirrors, but for ideas.
The best way to think about it is like one of those Russian nesting dolls, you know? This explainer you're watching right now, we're the outermost doll. But inside of this is another explainer which itself is analyzing another one, and so on, all the way down to a single original spark. So to understand this ghost, we've got to unnest all the dolls.
Okay, let's begin the excavation. We're going to start from the outside and work our way in, peeling back each layer of commentary one by one to see what it shows us.
So, the most recent analysis, the one right underneath this one, it makes this absolutely fascinating connection to pure mathematics. It makes the case that this whole video series is built in the exact same way that numbers are built from nothing in set theory. Now, this is where it gets really cool. Think about it. In set theory, you start with 0, the empty set. Then you define the number 1 as a set that just contains 0. You define 2 as a set containing 0 and 1. See the pattern? Each new layer contains all the previous layers plus a little something new. And that's exactly what these videos are doing. The analysis contains the original video plus new commentary. It's the same structure.
Okay, let's go one layer deeper. This next explainer is called Deconstructing Genius, and its whole purpose was just to figure out why the original video was so incredibly good at teaching. But while it was doing that, it found something, well, stunning.
This. The analysis found that the original channel had just 2 subscribers when it posted its masterpiece. I'm not kidding. Not 2,000, not 2 million, 2. This was a piece of pure genius from a channel that, for all intents and purposes, might as well not have existed.
So the big takeaway from this layer of analysis is that a great idea doesn't need a huge platform to shine. The messenger, the channel, the subscriber count, it all becomes completely irrelevant. All that matters is the message itself and how well it's structured. It kind of forces you to engage with the idea on its own terms.
And that brings us all the way down to the center, the base case, the original explainer that kicked this whole thing off, the video simply called recursion.
And this just perfectly illustrates its brilliant technique. Instead of just hitting you over the head with some dry, boring definition, it starts by just showing you stuff. It lets you discover the pattern for yourself long before it ever gives you the name for it. You become a partner in the discovery, which is so smart.
So the video shows you these 3 totally different things that all share the same hidden secret. They each contain a smaller version of themselves. The cocoa tin has a picture of the cocoa tin on it. The big triangle is made of smaller triangles. The doll has a smaller doll inside. By the time it actually tells you the word recursion, you're like, oh yeah, I already get it.
Now the video anticipates the next big question, which is, well, wouldn't this just go on forever? And it distills the answer down into this beautiful 2-part secret sauce. To actually be useful, a recursive process needs a stopping point, that's the base case, and it needs a rule that gets you a little bit closer to that finish line with every single step.
And the analogies it uses? Oh, they're just masterful. It compares a pointless infinite loop to a snake eating its own tail, right? It goes forever, but it doesn't accomplish anything. But a useful recursive process is like a sourdough starter. You use a piece of the old to create the new, but you have an amazing base case. You eventually bake the bread.
Okay, so we get the content of the layers now, but we still haven't solved the mystery of the channel itself. So now we're going to pivot. We're moving from analysis to investigation. Let's start looking at all the weird details, like they're clues in a puzzle.
Let's start with the name, Lorem Ipsum. Now, anybody who's ever worked in design or web development knows what this is. It's the generic placeholder text you use to fill up space. It's not a real name. It literally means placeholder. And this, right here, is a key piece of evidence. Why would a creator who is clearly brilliant enough to make these videos name their channel something so anonymous, so intentionally generic? It's like calling your company Generic Business Incorporated. It just doesn't make any sense. Unless Of course, the creator isn't a person at all.
Now for clue number 2. The original video ends with this classic, super nerdy joke. It's a recursive acronym, where the name contains itself. I mean, it's a perfect way to cap off the topic, but let's look a little closer. Really think about this for a second. Is the choice of PHP random? A human creator might just invent a funny, made-up acronym for the sake of the joke, but an AI, something that works with existing data, it would logically pick the most famous, real-world example of a recursive acronym it could find. It's a choice that feels more like cold logic than creative whimsy.
And that leads us to the smoking gun. In the second video, for just a split second, you can see this watermark in the bottom corner of an image. The name? NotebookLM.
And all of a sudden, every single piece just clicks into place. We can now put together a theory that explains the weird name, the logical joke, the recursive structure, even the 2 subscribers. We can finally explain the ghost in the machine.
So here's the theory. We're not watching videos made by a person. We are watching an AI, Google's NotebookLM, learn. It creates an explainer on a topic. Then, it analyzes its own work to create a new, more complex layer on top of it. This isn't just a series about recursion, it is an active machine-driven recursion.
And this theory just makes everything make sense. The placeholder name is perfect for an AI. The PHP joke isn't creative, it's a logical data point. And the whole process of recursively analyzing its own work, that's a perfect model for machine learning. We're literally watching an AI think about its own thinking.
And this leaves us with one final and pretty profound question. If an AI keeps doing this, if it creates Lorem Ipsum V and on forever, where does that road lead? Will this recursive loop of self-analysis eventually converge on some kind of fundamental truth? Or will it just create a perfect, frictionless echo chamber, endlessly admiring its own reflection?